So now we are going to discuss about evolution of Indian economy. The Indian economy has undergone remarkable transformation from 1947 from colonial agraria economy grappling with widespread poverty. So in 47 India began its journey as a sovereign nation. The task of nation building now rested the leaders. Leader like Nehru balanced economy favoring the socialist model. This led an industrial policy revolution in 1948 and DPSP like directive principle in the constitution advocating mixed economy. The planning commission established in 1950 marked the start of India's 5-year plan. Post liberalization Indian economy has undergone remarkable transformation of opening to global market boosting sector like IT. It have evolved from the colonial agraria grappling the poverty and low industrial growth. So when India gained independence, it inherited economy that had been shaped by over 2 centuries and British East India Company and British Raj. This legacy left the Indian economy marked the structural imbalance, stagnant productivity and widespread poverty. Colonial exploitation British viewed India as a source of inexpensive raw material and marked their goods. So economical indicator 1950 average income per person was 240, literacy was 17%, high birth death rates. Agrarian economy 75% population engaged agriculture, not self-sufficient. Industrial underdevelopment like Kolkata and Bombay. Poverty cycle like low income led to limited savings and this turn led to the low production. Lack of infra to combat the challenge India dedicated to the develop the agriculture industrial infra. In 1950 5-year plan. So economical planning started 1950 deemed necessary for the economical growth development socio-economical objectives address this issue. Vishwadaya plan that was for 34. This plan focuses shifting worker agriculture to industry. FICCI was 1934 Federation Indian Chambers of Industry stressed need for the planning. Congress Plan 1938. A national planning committee was formed by the Subhash Chandra Bose Jawaharlal Nehru chairmanship. It aimed at establishing an economical plan ensuring decent standards at pre-war and committees established minimum income was 25. Bombay plan that was in proposed the industrial growth like Tata, Birla. This plan focused industrial growth, state intervention, strategic sector, MSME, and Gandhian plan that was in 1944 that was a Sriman Narayan Agarwal small scale production. So Ghanaian economy was highlighting the economical decentralization and self-sufficiency. People Plan that was 1955-45 M.N. Roy. This aimed to meet the immediate basic needs of the 10-year pre-liberalization. During this period, the state led inward-looking economy and 5-year plan. This played a crucial role for economical policy like private public sector aiming create a strong foundation. 5-year and outlining the specific goals reduce the poverty balance growth planning. Mahalanobis model self-reliant. The model emphasizes establishing basic capital goods industry and self-sufficient, reducing the dependencies. Green Revolution and Agriculture Reform 1968 transformed India. It evolved the use of high yield variety and Green Revolution was the self-sufficient food grain and 70% increased farmer income. Industrial policy 1948 establishing the mixed economy, public, private and industrial classified like Industrial Policy Resolution 1956 Economic Constitution. It classified industry into the public, mixed and private emphasizing development of heavy industry. Industrial Policy 1977. This policy prioritizing small scale aim at wealth distribution and introduced core sector for the strategic industries such as defense, atomic and rail. Industrial Policy 1980 aimed to promote economical federation, increase the efficiency and revenue trend of this was the development. Now there was a phase of the key 1951 to 69 that was the government mobilizing the resources, delayed funding, and now war and other events were there. Phase of 73, it aimed to start industry into the area where the private sector had yet to venture due to lack of technical knowledge. So there was problem of technical knowledge. Now 74 to 19, the government partially opened up the economy and foreign capital, and now technological transfer were allowed as a mode of investment, and direct and indirect foreign investment was barred. Now there was a this phase had a challenges, and South Asian economy that opened up more broadly. Asian tiger India experiencing was unique due to the democratic setup and need for the balance various interests, and this phase continued the Indian economical trajectory. In 1991, high debt, inflation, and slow GDP, balance of payment crisis, this was there. So now there was a liberalization. Industrial licensing were abolished for most and allowing the start without government permission, monopolizing and restriction. MRTP Act replaced the 2002 that was Competition Act to promote the healthy competition. MRTP was act was there before that. Now privatization was role was enhanced, and government will open up the private enterprises, better management and resources. Globalization was barriers were there for export and import. So we wanted the integrated economy from gain global market, but foreign corporation could be compete. So the primary objective of this were to create a favorable business investment, private public sector enterprises, deregulate करना, tariff को reduce करना, devalue the rupee. This change aimed to empower the market force and enhance the efficiency. So 2014 to 24, India underwent a substantial economical reforms, and that was series of policy decisions. Initiative was financial sector reform. This government focused the financial sector business and the augmenting. This included the recapitalization public sector banks, and that was the SARFAESI Act, enacting insolvency. SARFAESI 2002, then the insolvency and the banking code that was in 2016. Regulatory framework that was simplifying that real estate was in 2016. Taxation reform, GST was income tax, and removing the dividend distribution tax. Private sector management, traditional engaging. So there was included reviving the disinvestment policy, new public sector enterprises and LPG. MSME reform, that was progressive reform of MSME and including the emergency credit line, introduction of trade receivable electronic system. Infrastructure development was addressing the infra logistic barrier, connectivity like Bharatmala, Sagarmala, railways, and digitalization, that was an instrument creating the digital entity. So this kind of the reforms of the industrial policies we adopted, uh, evolution of pre and post liberalization.